Cruel not because he kills, but because he desires. Because he plays games of love and power, even while whispering the word romance. We live in a time where dating apps promise connection but deliver loneliness, where love is treated like a marketplace, and where psychology itself has become a weapon. What if the truth is darker than we think? What if modern dating isn't about love at all, but about control, illusion, and survival? Imagine stepping into a vast marketplace where the stalls are endless and overflowing. But instead of fruits, spices, or precious metals, the shelves are lined with human faces, smiling portraits, filtered images, carefully chosen fragments of personality. A finger swipe replaces the ancient gesture of approach, and in that tiny motion, destinies are decided, souls are dismissed, and love is reduced to an algorithm. This is modern dating, a digital bazaar of desire, where choice itself has become a form of imprisonment. At first, it feels intoxicating. So many options, so many possibilities. The illusion whispers, somewhere, in this infinite crowd, the perfect person waits. Yet with every profile, every swipe, every fleeting conversation, something gnaws at the mind, the creeping sense that the more abundant the choices, the less capable we are of choosing. Barry Schwartz called it the paradox of choice, where more options do not liberate us but instead paralyze us, leave us restless, dissatisfied, and perpetually hungry. In this endless scroll of faces, desire becomes fractured. Freud once said that desire thrives not in fulfillment but in the tension between longing and its denial. Dating apps have weaponized that tension. Every match offers the spark of potential, but rarely the warmth of intimacy. The mind is conditioned not to savor but to hunt, not to hold but to discard. And so, a ritual emerges: swipe, match, chat, vanish. Ghosting is not simply rudeness, it is the natural symptom of commodified intimacy. When people are endless, disposable, replaceable, why should one's soul matter? But beneath this cold logic, a darker truth lurks. Choice was once the privilege of kings. To select one lover over another was once the drama of dynasties. Now, everyone holds the power of a king in the palm of their hand, but the crown is poisoned. For what is the worth of desire when desire itself has been industrialized? Love used to demand courage, the willingness to risk rejection, the act of standing before another soul bare and trembling. Now, the marketplace has stripped away the risk, and with it, the depth. What remains is a carousel of fleeting moments that spin faster the longer you ride, until every face blurs into sameness. Nietzsche warned us, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But in this marketplace of desire, the why dissolves. People no longer seek a soul to share life with, they seek the brief rush of novelty, the dopamine hit of being chosen, the fleeting comfort of not being alone for a night. The why has collapsed into the how, and the how is endless scrolling, endless seeking, endless disappointment. Picture, for a moment, the ancient ritual of courtship. The locked eyes across a crowded room, the trembling confession, the slow unfolding of intimacy under the gaze of time. Now replace that with a thumb moving across glass, a dopamine spike, and the eerie silence of yet another unread message. It is not simply that dating has changed, it is that the very psychology of desire has been rewritten. We are no longer lovers reaching for one another in the dark, we are consumers grazing in a field of faces, each bite leaving us hungrier than before. And in this endless marketplace, the soul begins to ache. For deep within us, there is something older than the algorithm, something that longs not for variety but for meaning. Yet the system thrives on keeping us unsatisfied. It is not designed for love, it is designed for repetition. The human heart becomes a coin tossed into the air: heads, you are chosen; tails, you vanish. And still, we keep playing, as though the next flip might finally reveal the face of destiny. Every encounter in modern dating begins not with the soul, but with the mask. Jung called it the persona, the face we present to the world, a carefully crafted performance designed to win acceptance, admiration, and desire. In the ancient world, this mask was subtle, woven through gestures, clothing, and the stories people told about themselves. But now, in the digital age, the mask has been industrialized. The dating profile is no longer a reflection, It is a stage, a polished theater where we choreograph the version of ourselves we hope others will love. Scroll through the profiles and you will see the masks, smiles frozen at their brightest angle, hobbies displayed like trophies, words chosen not to reveal truth but to create allure. Each picture becomes a brushstroke in a painting that hides more than it shows. Behind the curated glow lies the shadow, the unspoken loneliness, the quiet desperation, the scars of rejection. Yet no one reveals these truths, because the marketplace does not reward honesty, it rewards spectacle. We become advertisers of our own lives, selling the illusion of desirability while concealing the chaos within. Nietzsche once said, "Every profound spirit needs a mask." But what happens when the mask is worn so long it begins to consume the face beneath it? On dating apps, people spend hours sculpting their digital persona until the boundary between self and performance blurs. The profile becomes the mirror in which they measure their worth. A match is not simply interest, it is validation. A rejection is not disinterest, it is annihilation. The mask becomes the master, and the soul becomes its prisoner. The mirror, too, is merciless. Dating, once a meeting of two imperfect humans fumbling toward intimacy, has become a mirror reflecting our deepest insecurities back at us. When someone does not respond, it is not merely a lack of interest, it feels like proof of our own unworthiness. The swipe left is a silent verdict. The unanswered message is an invisible scar. We begin to believe that the mask itself is not polished enough, that we must refine, filter, exaggerate, until the reflection becomes bearable. But every filter erases a fragment of the real self, until what remains is a hollow image glowing behind glass. Consider the irony: in seeking love, we lose ourselves. In trying to be seen, we bury what is authentic under layers of artifice. The smile in the photograph may not belong to the lonely silence of midnight. The witty line in the bio may not belong to the stammering heart in real conversation. The mask seduces, but it does not sustain. And when two masks meet, they may fall in love with one another's performances, never daring to confront the fragile beings hidden beneath. This is the tragedy of the digital age. The mask is rewarded, while the truth is punished. To confess vulnerability too soon is to risk rejection. To show the shadow, the anger, the fear, the wounds, is to invite abandonment. So people hide. They hide behind emojis, behind ironic humor, behind rehearsed charm. They hide behind the glowing screen, hoping that if they play the role well enough, someone might eventually love the actor and not notice the trembling soul beneath the costume. But masks are not neutral. They are hungry. The longer they are worn, the more they consume. A person begins to identify with their profile, with their curated self, and slowly forgets who they are without it. Love, then, becomes not a search for connection, but a desperate attempt to protect the mask from cracking. The relationship itself becomes a theater performance, two actors, smiling in photographs, laughing in public, while behind closed doors the silence grows unbearable. And yet, deep inside, the mirror does not lie. No matter how carefully the persona is polished, the shadow waits beneath it, whispering that something is missing. In the quiet moments after the swiping, after the staged dates, after the filters fade, the truth emerges. We are not loved for who we are loved for the mask we wear. And in that realization, the abyss opens, the terror that no one has ever truly seen us at all. Beneath the glossy surface of modern dating lies a battlefield. Every word, every silence, every delay in response is loaded with meaning. What looks like romance is often nothing more than strategy. Robert Greene once wrote that power is a game of appearances, and nowhere is that more evident than in the rituals of attraction. A single text message can feel like a declaration of dominance or a surrender of control. Who speaks first? Who replies slower? Who withdraws to make the other chase? Love, once imagined as a dance of hearts, now resembles a chess match where each move is calculated, and every mistake can cost the game. Freud spoke of Eros and Thanatos, the twin drives of life and death, love and destruction, forever intertwined. Modern dating reveals this tension in its purest form. The same person who offers tenderness one moment can vanish the next. Passion transforms into silence. Desire bleeds into rejection. The heart is pulled between craving intimacy and fearing the annihilation it may bring. A lover becomes both savior and executioner, the hand that soothes and the hand that wounds. In every ghosting, in every manipulation, there is a whisper of Thanatos, the death drive, disguised as romance. Consider the game of playing hard to get. It is not about love at all. It is about scarcity. Humans are wired to value what is withheld. The Stoics warned us that desire is often born not from the object itself, but from its inaccessibility. The one who withholds attention gains power, while the one who chases becomes enslaved by longing. This is not affection, it is domination wrapped in flotation. Each unanswered message is a reminder of imbalance, each delayed reply a lever of control. The heart beats faster not because of love, but because of the fear of losing. The chessboard metaphor is fitting. Imagine two players facing each other, but instead of pawns and rooks, the pieces are emotions, hope, jealousy, obsession, fear. Each move disguises intent. A compliment may be a lure, a confession may be bait, silence may be the sharpest weapon of all. One misstep and the opponent seizes advantage. But here, unlike in chess, there is no clear victory. Even the winner often feels emptier than before, for what has been conquered is not love but the fragile ego of another human being. The cruelty of these games lies in their subtlety. Manipulation rarely declares itself openly. It hides in gestures so small they are almost invisible, the carefully timed pause before answering a call, the sudden withdrawal after intimacy, the calculated display of interest in others to provoke jealousy. These are not random behaviors, they are weapons of psychological warfare, sharpened by centuries of unspoken human instinct. To love in this world is to enter a battlefield blindfolded, never knowing which gestures are genuine and which are strategies. And yet, why do we play? Why do we enter this arena, knowing the wounds it brings? The answer lies in the hunger for control. Love makes us vulnerable, strips away the illusions of strength, leaves us trembling before another's gaze. To play games is to shield ourselves from this terror. If I manipulate, I cannot be destroyed. If I control, I cannot be abandoned. These games are not signs of strength, they are symptoms of fear. The fear of surrender, the fear of exposure, the fear of standing unmasked before another soul. Nietzsche once declared that every relationship is a struggle for power, hidden beneath the veil of tenderness. Lovers do not meet as equals, they wrestle in silence for control of the narrative, for the ability to define the story. One becomes the pursuer, the other the pursued. One holds the silence, the other fills it with longing. One withdraws, the other clings. The tragedy is that both believe they are seeking love, while in truth they are chasing the illusion of mastery over another heart. Picture it, two people sitting across a table. Their words are soft, their smiles rehearsed, but beneath the surface runs an electric current of competition. Each gesture is weighed. Each glance is a move on the invisible chessboard. One leans back to seem disinterested, the other laughs too loudly to claim the spotlight. Neither is fully present. Neither is truly vulnerable. Both are players in a game that promises victory but delivers only exhaustion. And still, the game continues. For the human mind is addicted not only to love, but to the drama of power. The rush of being desired, the thrill of withholding, the satisfaction of bending another's emotions, all of these feed the ego even as they starve the soul. We chase the high of winning, forgetting that every victory leaves us lonelier than before. In this way, dating becomes not a search for connection, but a theater of war where intimacy is sacrificed on the altar of control. Every love story begins with echoes from the past. We imagine that when we meet someone new, we are starting fresh, walking into a blank page of possibility. But the truth is darker, heavier. No one arrives empty-handed. Every date, every conversation, every moment of intimacy carries with it the invisible weight of childhood, of wounds unhealed, of shadows unacknowledged. We think we are choosing a partner. In reality, we are often choosing our trauma, wearing new faces, repeating old patterns. Attachment theory names it clearly: anxious, avoidant, secure. But these are not abstract categories. They are living ghosts that haunt every text, every silence, every embrace. The anxious one longs desperately for closeness, but their hunger drives others away. The avoidant one runs from intimacy, but their escape only deepens the loneliness they fear. The secure one is rare, like a quiet lake in a storm, and yet even they can be pulled into the vortex of another's unresolved pain. Dating is not two people meeting in the present, it is two childhoods colliding in adult bodies, each seeking resolution without ever naming the wound. Jung warned us of the shadow, that hidden reservoir of fears, desires, and memories we refuse to face. In relationships, the shadow does not stay hidden. It is projected outward, cast upon the person we claim to love. The lover becomes a screen, and onto that screen we throw our anger, our abandonment, our need for control. We are not fighting with them, we are fighting with the ghost of a parent who neglected us, the absence of a love we never received, the rejection that once cut too deep. We call it romance, but it is exorcism. We are trying to heal our wounds by bleeding them into someone else. Nietzsche wrote of the abyss, when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Love, in its darkest form, is this abyss. To let another close is to risk that they will see not only your smile, but the chaos beneath it. And when they do, their shadow meets yours, and the collision is violent. An anxious partner clings tighter, the avoidant withdraws further, the cycle repeats, and the abyss deepens. People call it toxic, as if it were some external poison, but in truth, it is the echo of their own unhealed fractures. Imagine a couple sitting across from each other. Their words are tender, but beneath the table, their shadows wrestle. Every silence is filled not with peace but with fear. Will they leave me? Am I enough? Will I ever be safe? The anxious heart interprets the smallest pause as rejection. The avoidant heart interprets the smallest demand as suffocation. They are not hearing each other's words, they are hearing the voices of their parents, their past lovers, the demons they carry within. What they call love is often a battleground for ghosts. And yet, the repetition is seductive. The mind is drawn to what is familiar, even if it is destructive. Freud called it the repetition compulsion, the strange urge to relive old wounds, as if by replaying them we might finally rewrite the ending. This is why so many find themselves caught in cycles of toxic relationships, drawn again and again to the same kind of person, the same pain in a new disguise. They believe they are cursed, unlucky, doomed to heartbreak. But the truth is more unsettling. They are addicted to their own suffering, compelled to reenact their trauma until they dare to confront it directly. In this light, modern dating apps become haunted houses. Every profile is not just a picture, but a doorway into someone's history. Behind the curated smile may hide abandonment, behind the clever bio a silent terror of being unworthy. When two people match, their wounds begin to negotiate long before their words do. The anxious child within one reaches for the avoidant child within the other, and together they dance a choreography scripted decades earlier. The result feels inevitable, as if fate itself conspired, but it is not fate, it is memory, the tyranny of the past disguised as love. The darkness of this truth is difficult to face. It means that when most people say they are looking for love, what they are truly searching for is a familiar wound, a partner whose shadow will fit their own. It means that heartbreak is not an accident, but a mirror, forcing us to confront the parts of ourselves we refuse to see. And until we turn inward, until we face the abyss directly, we will remain trapped, forever dating not the person before us, but the unfinished story of our own past. There comes a moment, after all the swipes, after all the games, after all the silent wounds disguised as love, when a question begins to form: has love itself died? What was once spoken of as sacred, as eternal, as the highest pursuit of the human heart, now feels hollow, cheapened, traded like currency in a world obsessed with image and performance. In the neon glow of the digital age, love is no longer a flame, it is a commodity. It is measured in likes, in matches, in fleeting affirmations that evaporate as quickly as they arrive. The marketplace has swallowed it whole, and what remains is a shell, polished but empty. The Stoics would say that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. And in modern dating, judgment is everywhere. Every photo is judged, every sentence weighed, every silence interpreted. The human soul is placed on trial before a faceless jury, and the verdict is swift, left or right, desirable or disposable, worthy or unworthy. What the ancients called eros, the divine spark of desire, has been stripped of its sacredness and turned into a shallow performance where the heart is never truly seen. Nietzsche might call this the twilight of love, the slow erosion of meaning under the weight of convenience. Where once lovers wrote letters that carried the weight of eternity, now conversations vanish in seconds. Where once commitment meant surrender, now it feels like entrapment. Love has been reduced to a transaction, a negotiation of terms. How much attention will you give me, and what will I give in return? In such a world, intimacy itself becomes suspect, and the word forever sounds almost absurd. And yet, even in this decay, something stirs. For within the human heart lies a longing that no algorithm can extinguish. Beneath the endless games and masks, beneath the wounds and manipulations, there is still the hunger for authenticity, for a connection that defies the marketplace. It is fragile, often buried, but it remains. When two people sit together without performance, when the masks slip, when silence is no longer suffocating but shared, something ancient returns. It may not be the romantic ideal we were promised, but it is real, and in its rawness it carries more truth than all the illusions combined. The rebellion, then, is not loud but quiet. It is not found in grand gestures but in the refusal to play the game. To love without calculation, to sit in the presence of another without the need to win, to risk being unmasked and still remain, this is an act of defiance in a world where everything is strategy. It is not safe. It is not easy. But it is the only way to reclaim love from the abyss. Think of two figures in a crowded city, surrounded by noise, neon, endless distraction. And yet, when they look at each other, the world seems to dissolve. There are no swipes, no strategies, no carefully rehearsed personas, only two fragile beings daring to exist without armor. In that moment, love is no longer transaction. It is rebellion, a strike against the emptiness of the age. This is the hope hidden in the ruins, that love can survive not by conforming to the game, but by rejecting it. That even in a culture that thrives on masks and manipulation, the human heart can still choose presence over performance, vulnerability over control. And though the marketplace may never vanish, though the abyss will always be near, there will always remain those rare, dangerous, luminous moments when two souls meet without disguise and remember that love was never meant to be won, it was meant to be lived. So perhaps Nietzsche was right, man is the cruelest animal. But cruelty is not the final word. The same psychology that teaches us to manipulate can also teach us to awaken. The question is not, how do we win at dating? The real question is, can we still find love when everything around us teaches us to play a game?